Good morning, everybody. Nice to see you. And when you feel ready, you just let your eyes close by themselves. Taking this time for yourself, only for yourself, to be here. In this moment that we do share together. Each of us in his own aloneness. Any aloneness sharing the same moment. How beautiful. Allow yourself to just be here. Starting by sensing your body. And releasing any little tension you might still carry. Letting yourself sink deeper into this moment by letting go of everything you might still carry from your previous days. Feeling the weight of the body on the pillow as it sinks down. Rooting yourself in this place. Knowing that you want to move for a while so you can really ground yourself where you are. Becoming aware also of the uplifting pool of sky energy, particularly on the top of the head. Becoming aware of the verticality that exists between these two energies, earth and sky. That sense of verticality inside of your body, right in the middle of your physical body. Sky pulling upwards, earth pulling downwards. And we sit in the middle in perfect balance. In this place, in this moment. Allow yourself to be empty. Becoming aware of the breathing that is happening in that emptiness. The only physical movement that is perceived in that emptiness. Enjoy that feeling of prana coming in and going out. Consciously choosing to let go of any thought or memory or imagination that might arise. At the very start, as it starts arising, consciously choose to let it go as not necessary to this moment. So that we can allow to rest in that emptiness. Coming back again and again to that inner spaciousness. Allowing those gaps between thoughts to become longer and longer. So that we can rest in that stillness. See if you can empty yourself of your whole personal story in this moment. Just let it all go. As if you choose to disappear for a few moments. Allow your story, your identity to disappear. Just let it go. So that you can be 100% here, present. You want to be present only to that is permanent and letting go anything that is impermanent. When we can let go of our story, there is a profound peace in those moments. Rest in that. Remaining alert and releasing any thoughts that starts about past or future. And coming back to the present again and again, to that space, that spaciousness that is the present moment. Keep going deeper inside. See if you can sense your inner space in even a deeper way. There's nothing to be afraid. Allow yourself to fall into that. Just letting go as if you're falling down into that space. Let yourself fall deeper. And in that fall, you allow yourself to disappear. Keep going deeper inward. To the very center of your being. Do not expect anything. Be innocent and exploring what that center is like, that inner space is like. What does it feel like? It's a mystery to be explored. Keep emptying yourself of yourself and allow just consciousness to experience itself. Slowly coming back to the group. You might have noticed how those moments when, like I would say, allow yourself to disappear, no? Maybe even for a few moments, that sensation that you let go of your old story, of your old self as we know it, with all our memories and ideas and what we need to do, what we did do, who we are, letting go of all that. And suddenly there is so much space when that happens, no? A very peaceful space. Sometimes it makes me laugh because I feel like, well, this is it, but can it be that simple? And then I had to start laughing because it is. It's so close and so simple. And it feels so good when that happens. And you might also have noticed how there's a part of you that cannot handle it for very long. It's like, whoa, okay. Let me think about something now, or let me do something, or you want to start understanding what it is that I'm feeling and try to get your mind involved, no? That is the old self that is really uncomfortable in not being the center of your attention, in not, it feels that there is nothing else for me to do. Wait a second, what about me? Well, that me is taking most of our lives. So what we are learning with our practice is like putting that little me aside so that the big me is present. But it's very interesting to notice how uncomfortable that part of us becomes as soon as there is this sense of emptiness, spaciousness, or whatever we want to define it. Like peaceful expansions without any story attached to it. Something that's very uncomfortable. So we notice that without falling into that trap. We're noticing it as soon as it starts activating again, and we let it go again. It's really a game of alertness. We want to try to prolong that space, that empty space, that space without a story, to let it grow and expand and exist more and more. Because we're not used to it. Yeah, but it's there. So it's just, we could say we just have to train our attention to stay focused on nothing. Or on nothingness, on emptiness. Because when the attention is focused on that emptiness, then that's when there is just pure presence. That's what I call pure presence, without any interference, unpolluted by any interference from the little me, unpolluted by our story. And then we can experience what true pure consciousness, pure presence is. And it's a beautiful experience, of course. But be very alert, very careful, and watch, because this little me will want to creep in again and again and again. It's fine. There's no need to beat yourself up for that. It's totally normal. But stay alert so that you can release it, keep releasing it, and come back to that moment of emptiness. It's a practice. And in time, you start getting used. Your whole system starts getting used to that, to resting in that emptiness, resting in that space where nothing is happening, let's say. You become more and more comfortable. Even your little me starts learning. It's like, okay, here we go. I'm disappearing again. Oh, well, that's okay. I'm getting used to it. Yeah. So you really train even that little me to be quiet and be put aside. And so slowly you become the master again of that inner space. It's really a training. Training yourself to get used to rest in that emptiness again, in that space of pure consciousness. And then explore that, because that, of course, the longer you can rest in that, the deeper you can explore that space, which we don't know what it is. It is or is not. I don't even know if it is or is not. It's just an exploration. So then as I was saying in the guided meditation, we approach it with innocence. Yeah. Because we don't know. That's a fact. We don't know it. We're not used to rest in that space. So sink in, let yourself fall, really fall into it. It's a let go. I like that image of yourself falling, because it's a letting go. Just like you don't go anywhere, you just fall suddenly. You lose control. The little me loses control, and you let yourself fall into that spaciousness with innocence, not knowing what it is. Instead, okay, let me rest in here. Let me see what it's like if I make this my home for a little while. What it's like to just be in here. What does it feel like? So we have all our tools, we have our anchors, we have our understanding. What is the mind? What is the ego? What is the little me? What is the big me? What is essence? Good. But in those moments, we let go of all of that, even of that. There's no need. Okay, I'm present. The moment you feel the anchors are good when you are overwhelmed, of course, by your mind or emotions. There are things that wants to be experienced. And then you might use some of the anchors to anchor yourself in the present moment. But once you feel you're present, then that's the time to just let yourself fall without hesitation. Dive deep in and let go of everything, anchors included. Just like you disappear. You want to disappear. You want to have that taste of what is like if I disappear. What is left? What is left when I disappear? That's why in the meditation I said, emptying yourself of yourself. Yeah. Allow what you know to be yourself to just disappear, not be there. And then watch what is left. Experience what is left. That's the deeper part of meditation. So now you've been prepared. You know the old preparation part. So that when you touch that moment where you feel like you're very quiet, there's stillness, you feel present, let yourself fall into that. You're ready for that now. And train your whole system to familiarize itself with resting in that emptiness. Maybe it's for 5 seconds first. Maybe it becomes 20 seconds slowly. Then it gets longer and you feel more and more comfortable. You know how to rest in that emptiness. And then it becomes easier and easier. It's like a neck. You learn the access point. You know where to enter. Suddenly it's like, oh yeah, here it goes. I go in there. I rest in that. Okay, I talked enough for today. I hope this will be helpful. And if somebody wants to share something, I'm very happy to hear. And maybe we try to keep our sharing concentrated. Yeah, sometimes they become long stories and that they take a lot of space. So try to find the center of what you want to express or what you want to ask or what you want to share. Yes, yeah. Yeah, Rafa. Tell us.
It's more a question. In the last days, I'm observing because it's a very wild time. Uh, that's my heart is making like this,
Your
and
hand?
my heart, meu
Heart.
cuore, no?
Yeah, your heart.
And it's it do it, and I cannot. It's doing very quickly, and no, I'm observing it. I was working about this.
It's a contraction of your heart.
Yes, close.
Yeah.
And for people that I love. A part of me was judging this proof. No, I
The
was
contraction.
judging. Yes, so now you have to open your heart. It's not, you have to, no,
Mm-hmm.
it's not good. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was letting me go, and I was sensing peace, love. I was feeling the universe, but I was all falling down.
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly it was coming a remembering, but it was whoop. And I was remembering how I was telling someone that I was trusting about a very big heart, a very big ferita, or a very big problem. And this one was telling me, "That's my problem. Don't talk with me."
You were sharing your how you were feeling hurt with this
Yes,
person.
about a
Your
very big problem. No? And
a certain wound that you had.
yeah,
Okay.
and then I was observing this. I was observing this with love or with peace, and it was going away. And then I was back to this peace and to nothing.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And now I can understand. I can have compassion to this group of me.
Contraction. So the contraction was related to that memory, that what
About the
happened.
experience that I was
Yeah.
making. Mm. But it was fun. So then funny, the question is, it was not a memory that I wanted to make away. I was getting conscious about something, and then I was back in this peace, in love, in space, and something like the source. I don't know what I said. So
Yeah, we don't know.
no, but
Let's
that's
not,
good.
let's not even call it.
Yes, this. But
Space.
my question is, it was a memory. So what I sense it was a part of the process. This memory that's coming back.
Of
It's not
course.
okay. It's not this memory. I'm Raffaella and I have to do that. It was not with the mind.
Yeah.
That is the
Yeah.
best.
Yeah, of course. That memory, which we could call it a wound or a trauma or something that happened that got memorized in your emotional body, right? It's an emotional memory. And so when you allow yourself to go deeper, you could sense what you were already sensing, a contraction in your heart, right? So you were in a way inviting that memory to arise by what we call a self-inquiry, almost like, wow, why am I feeling this contraction? And that's perfect. And that memory came up and it showed you, well, in this case, that's when you felt hurt. You felt you were not received. You were trying to share a part of you, and this person, whoever it was, went like, this is your problem, right? So you didn't feel hurt, and you felt hurt from that, of course. So there was a contraction. So just being able sometimes to re-experience for a moment through that emotional memory, it is a memory, then that contraction it releases itself, right? That was the feeling, okay, I can go back into that spaciousness again now. It is, of course, it is part of your story, if you want to call it that way. Yeah, it's part of your personal story. There's nothing wrong with that. So the story also needs to be seen and sometimes re-experienced so that we can let it go. Yeah, especially if there is a wound or a hurt that is connected to the past. That is the only way we can release it, is to feel it again. Because if it's still there, it means it's not been felt enough. Yeah, we put it in the subconscious. So that's beautiful. That's exactly the process we talked about in the last couple of weeks. Allow yourself to feel that, even if sometimes it's painful, even if it's not pleasant, even if it's a contraction, even more so. Allow yourself to feel it and stay with it and see if there is something that wants to come up, show itself. Okay, and then beautiful, you can just re-experience it. It doesn't have to be a traumatic thing. It doesn't have to be, oh, if you let yourself fall into that, you're gonna die of pain, or the pain is gonna be unbearable. It's not like that. That's a mind that has that fear. Sometimes it's just quite simple, the process.
It was clear. Oh.
Yeah. Can be very clear and very simple. It's just that's the power of witnessing, of being able to re-experience it with mindfulness. Yeah.
And compassion.
And compassion. Acceptance. Befriending that moment, even that memory, no? Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Yeah, Mickey. Oh, and then Petra.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Shastro. I won't be long today. Last week I took up a lot of time.
It's okay.
So I just want to thank you from the deepest, most beautiful place in my heart for today. It was absolutely a wonderful experience. It was really exactly what I needed. And yes, thank you very much. And I feel at this moment a very deep longing within me to remain long periods in that emptiness, to keep on falling. I think it's very profound, and it's something I need to look into to change my life situation. So that I can be in a place where that is possible.
Yes.
So yeah, it's a deep longing. Yeah.
Yes, that's the deepest. That's the deepest longing.
Yes.
There's nothing deeper than that.
Yes.
Absolutely true.
Yes. But thank you so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so grateful to be here. So I'm so grateful for you and for everyone in the group. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. That's beautiful. When it becomes so clear, the longing is so strong that the priorities starts becoming clear too, right? Okay.
Yes.
Because otherwise, that is the center, calling you in a way. It's like, otherwise we keep going around in circle. If we don't decide to go eventually to fall into that center, into that emptiness, we'll just keep going around in a circle and nothing happens, and we can spend the whole life going around and around and around, but eventually we are avoiding to fall into that center, that's why we sit. That's why we're here. That's why we have a longing. That's exactly the longing that everybody has. So when we start getting in touch, when we start removing all the story from the surface, all the story that makes us going in circle and circle, and we start thin it out. Okay, I'm not this, I'm not this, I'm not this. Yeah, netty. And then suddenly you start seeing the space more and more because you empty yourself of that, even through what Rafa was explaining, like that those experiences might arise, but they arise so that can be released and you can make more space. Yeah, that's all it is.
Yes.
It's a process of emptying. And then you keep throwing away what it's not needed anymore. And you start realizing, oh, there is a more and more space. Then go into that. Don't keep going around in a circle or looking. Don't create new stories. Be very careful not to create new stories in that moment. Just dive in, let yourself fall. And the more you do it, and the more you feel like, oh my God, I want to be here more often. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Remain there.
This is pure nourishment. This is Amrita. How they call it? The divine nectar, Amrita.
Mm-hmm.
That's what nourishes you, your whole being. Mm-hmm. So good. So you listen to that. Super important because it's a result of your work, of your good work. Beautiful. I hope it's going to happen to all of us more and more. Exactly that. Thank you, Miki.
Thank you, Shastro.
Petra, did you want to share something?
Hello to everyone. You were talking before about this sensation of falling in.
Yes.
Yeah. And I often have that. But I'm always afraid, like, oh my God, I'm falling asleep.
Uh-huh.
Even if I know it's not exactly falling asleep.
Mm-hmm.
But I never had the courage to go beyond that. I just let myself mentally and I say to myself, you are falling asleep again.
Wake up. Yeah.
Yeah, wake up. But
I know very well. I know that space.
How to come closer to that? There is like a hole below that.
Yes.
I feel there is.
It's empty.
It's empty, yeah, but I'm kind of afraid to jump in.
Yes. So beautiful, beautifully said. That can happen, and I'm sure it happens to all of us. When I was in India with Osho, he went through a period of time where, he went from just sitting with us in silence, and then sometime he would talk, and his talks became 3 up to 4 hours at a certain point. It was problematic for many reasons, because first, people had to pee and they couldn't get up. So then we started realizing, stop drinking at least 3 hours before, because otherwise you're in trouble. Somebody peed in their pillow at a certain point, because you can't get up in front of Osho that is talking and walk out. And it was really problematic. So that was a physiological problem. Another problem was that you could fall asleep easily, because on such a long period of time, and it's evening and you're tired, you work all day, right? And I explore that space of what it's like to, because part of me was like, come on, you're sitting in front of Osho, he's talking for you, to you. You can't fall asleep. That's embarrassing, no? But it happened, and So I started exploring day after day, well, what it's like to be in that space between awake and sleep. Because sometimes, especially if you're not well rested, yeah, if your body is well rested, so that's why I love sitting in the morning, because I hardly ever had that sensation unless I didn't sleep well, or unless I'm tired because since a few days I've been doing too much or whatever. But if I'm well rested, it's much easier not to have that. But if it's there, then allow yourself to explore, because what worst can happen, the worst thing that can happen is that you fall asleep. So what? Big deal. Yeah. If that doesn't happen, you get to explore another space, which seems like sleep, because that's all our mind knows. Many people, when they start meditation, they come to me and they say, I keep falling asleep, and I tell them, don't worry. In the beginning, it's normal, because when you touch that wavelength where the mind is not functioning, it's the same wavelength that we have before falling asleep. Yeah, there's a moment where the brain really has the same. I don't know now what wavelength it is, but it's the same wavelength as when we enter in meditation. And so the body, if you're not used to meditate, for example, recognize that as, oh, we're going to sleep now, right? Because that's all it knows. But slowly, you start recognizing it, and you don't worry about it. You try to stay awake. Obviously, you try to stay alert and watch that, knowing that the worst thing that can happen is that you fall asleep. So what? Then you wake up. Sometime I was so tired when I was in India that I would actually lie down if I was sitting way in the back. When I was feeling like I can't stay awake, I was okay, lie down and sleep then. So I would lie down, sleep for 5 or 10 minutes, then wake up, sit up again, and then I was present. I would do that too. I've had 2, 3, 4 hours anyway, no problem, no? So you play with it, you explore it, what it's like, and make sure you don't judge yourself for falling asleep or anything like that, because you're exploring what it's like to stay on that space that sometimes feels like between awake and asleep. You might also end up experiencing that space in the middle of the night sometime. Sometimes I experience having a lot of energy, needing to go to sleep, but then I would wake up in the night, or at least I would be awake sometime for the whole night. It happened to me recently. I just couldn't completely fall asleep. So I was always a little awake, a little conscious. And all I could do was like, okay, I let the body rest. I'm awake. I know I'm awake, but I don't make a big deal about it. And I just allow the body to rest anyway, as if I pretend to be asleep. That was the feeling. Okay, I lie here, I pretend to be asleep, but I'm not. And the morning I was fine, I was awake all night, but the body was pretty rested and I could function well, no problem. That can happen too. So there are all spaces to be explored and not to worry about, really. Whatever happens is good, it's fine. And yes, the part that is afraid to fall in that emptiness is, of course, your little me, which is like, oh, no, I'm not going there. I'm going to disappear. Yes, that part of you is going to disappear, which is the part that we're so used to identify with. So it's scary. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the beginning. Then the more you experience it, the more you familiarize with it and realize, there's nothing. Actually, you look forward to for that little me to disappear, because suddenly there is pure peace. It's like, oh, I like this. You actually go back in there more and more. But in the beginning, it's really can be a little scary. Yes. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, thank you, Petra. Yeah, Tanya. Tell us. Oh, we can't hear you.
Now.
Yes.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
I wanted to share two observations. And thank you so much for talking about the little me, because that's exactly what I wanted to share anyways. Because since I managed to sit on a daily basis, little me is growing very big. And I thought, oh, wait, isn't it what it's all about to get rid of you? And now you're present like
Yes.
more than ever before. But I think it's a good process because I'm aware of it. And I have those moments of falling, literally feeling like a verticality and falling into it. Beautiful moments, or moments of pure happiness when sitting.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, this little me feels disturbed.
Yeah. And then it's nagging, like,
Yeah. And not just when sitting. And that's what can make it very exhausting in everyday life, because I feel like I experience a duality between the watcher, always watching this little me.
Yes.
Yeah. And the second observation is about other people, because since I sit daily, I feel like other people are reacting towards me in very different ways. People I know and people I don't know at all. Yesterday, there was a woman in the supermarket, and she was there 4 times out of the blue, standing in front of me, giving me very bad energy, like giving me a feeling of guilt, like I shouldn't be standing here, like I have taken something she wanted to take. With no words, just I felt it. And on the other hand, suddenly there are people on the street looking me straight in the eyes, smiling.
Yes.
Perhaps it was like that before and I just didn't realize. But yeah, that's with the people I don't know. And with people I know, it's very interesting, because some of them are starting to judge me, saying something about how I am, how I changed, how my feedback becomes more abstract to their problems or something like that. And other ones, like, sure, I have the feeling they want to get close to me to like absorb something of me. So I try to build a wall, or I tell myself just accept it and give love. Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I experienced in the last week.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well said. Yeah. Yeah, that all happens. Yeah, it's part of the process. There will be people that suddenly, it's true also what you said, you're also more aware of everything, of all the dynamics, that somehow maybe some of those dynamics were there before too, but you were not so keenly aware of them. And now everything becomes more clear and crystal clear. It's like, oh, you notice things much more. It's also true that some people will start resonating with you, with the space you're in more. Yeah. And other people will go in reaction because suddenly they can't relate to that space, you know, they don't know it. So, but that's a good thing. It's like a natural selection.
Yeah, it really is.
Because then, of course, you want to be more and more with people that are on your frequency, on your wavelength, where you nourish each other, you know.
Exactly. That's what I feel at the moment with close friends. It's like a kind of a hard process, but I feel very clearly with whom I resonate in a good way and with whom not.
Yeah, and the people that don't resonate with you and you don't resonate with them, they don't need to be in your life. I mean, they are momentarily, but you know, don't worry about it. That's not where you want to direct your energy into. And then it can happen also what you said, that sometimes somebody comes to you because they have a need or they want something from you. And that's sometimes you might feel like, you know what, I don't want to give anything to this person right now. That's okay. Don't judge yourself for that. And other times you might feel like, as you said, okay, I feel that this person wants to take something from me, is in need of something, and I'm okay. I'll be there for them. That was so beautiful. Either way, as long as you're true to yourself in that moment, you know, you don't judge if you don't want to give anything, you don't judge yourself, and you don't judge because you're giving something, of course. So yeah, all those dynamics will happen and will be more and more obvious. And the little me, don't worry if it wants to grow. It's a good thing. You know, Osho used to say, you have to, in a way, you have to refine and let your ego grow and be very, so that it's something very obvious and very solid, almost it becomes more and more tangible, more and more obvious, because then when it's that solid and obvious, you can take it and throw it away. But if it's ungraspable and it's like, maybe, you know, it's very, then it's more difficult to define it and recognize it. So in a way, that's also a good process. Don't worry about the ego growing. Fine. Make it as big as possible. And eventually it's going to be so obvious that you can just drop it. It's much easier to drop an obvious ego than one that is very subtle. You know, if you start having a very spiritual ego and you feel very saintly, you might not notice it. You don't know what to drop. So it's all good. Let your little me grow until it's going to be obvious what it is, and more obvious and more easy to put it aside when it's not needed. And when you function in society, sometimes that little me is good. It's good that it's big and strong. You know, then you don't let anybody step over you. And in a way, it's a protection. That's what the ego is. It's a protection. It protects us so we don't get wounded over and over and over by a society which is strictly egoic. So it has its function too in the world. Yeah. So we want to have it. We want it to be strong, clear, something that we know exactly what it is, but suddenly we're not. We are the master, and that becomes a tool to be used when it's needed. Yeah. And the less subtle it is, the more easy it is to see what it is and to say, okay, now you can function, and now I put you aside because I'm moving into a different space where you cannot enter. There's nothing for you there. You are not in that moment. So there's of course there's no space for you. You're not there. You don't exist. Yeah. So then eventually we come to that freedom of being able to switch on and off. Osho used to say, yeah, of course I come here to talk to you. I activate my mind because I needed to express, I needed to talk, I need to relate. As soon as I stop and I go back to my room, I switch it off. It's just like that. And I just let myself rest in pure presence. It eventually becomes like that. Suddenly you learn where the switch is through practice. And so when you need it, you turn it on. And when you don't need it, you turn it off. How beautiful. But that takes a lot of practice and continuous work, continuous awareness. Beautiful. Well said, Tanya. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Nice. I'm very happy for you guys. Things are moving along beautifully. Pat yourself on the shoulder sometimes, yeah? Sometimes go like, good work, keep going. You're doing great. You're doing very, very good. Okay. Do you want to unmute yourself for a moment? So we will see each other next Friday, inshallah.
Yes.
Lala.
Hugs,
Well, thank you.
kisses. Thank you all for being here.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Till the
Out.
next.